Remember when James Cameron nearly directed a Spider-Man movie?
What about when we almost got Batman Year One with Joaquin Phoenix?
Or David Goyer's Flash movie that would have starred Ryan Reynolds?
Well, if you want to learn about all the unmade superhero movies, then check out Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Hosted by Ben Wan and Alex Ramsey, every month we cover nostalgic superhero movies with deep dives into unmade scripts, early drafts, deleted scenes, alternate cuts, concept art, novelizations, and tie-in novels.
We also interview the people involved in making the superhero films of our childhood, with our past guests including superhero actors, directors, screenwriters, and concept artists.
So remember, that's Superhero Stuff You Should Know, or Superhero SYSK on social media. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Happy Halloween from Christian Cringe. This week to rock out for Halloween, we're talking about one of the scariest things I've ever seen, A Distant Thunder. And we are joined once again by Andy of my favorite band of all time, Five Iron Frenzy. And I have to tell you guys both this because I find it so funny. We all were watching this movie at the exact same time, and both of you were texting me while watching it, and it was delightful.
I didn't know that. That's hysterical.
Yeah, we all picked the exact same starting time, apparently, last night.
That's
because
so funny.
we were all within like 10, 15 minutes of each other throughout this movie, which is only an hour and 16 minutes long, but boy, does it feel like 2 hours at points.
It really does, even when you put it on double speed.
Yeah.
And it's the sequel to A Thief in the Night.
A Thief in the Night, which I will say, A Thief in the Night, while I will never claim it to be one of my favorite movies that I've ever watched, I did remember when we watched it being like, oh, there's like a little bit of like 70s exploitation flair to this, like specifically the opening scene. The opening scene of the first movie is amazing.
Slaps.
Like it's so good at being like an effective horror moment. I think whoever was the cinematographer on that first film could not have possibly came back for this movie because
No, I don't think he
it
did.
seems
He was-
lacking.
wasn't he this? No, it was someone else worked on it, I guess. But like
Who worked on the Blob movies?
movies, yeah. I think it was one of the actors.
Yeah, did you know that, Andy? That one of the people behind these movies also did the '50s Blob film.
I knew that because I listened to the Thief in the Night episode.
Nice.
Yeah, you're a loyal listener. I always forget that. Andy, we talked about how much this movie kind of scarred you because of the like very rapture baity upbringing that you had. But then you were texting me last night, and spoiler alert, finally revisiting this movie all these years later, you're like, man, this movie's not working on me the way it did back then.
I am so curious
did
about
not.
that. Yeah, like what was it that like made you so terrified in comparison to the first movie?
Well, I got this stuff drilled into my head at a way too early age.
Yeah.
Really young. And I mean, like, I think when I first came out to visit my brother and my sister-in-law and visited their church, I had to have been like, I don't know, like 11 years old, 10, 11 years old, something
wow.
like that.
That's really young.
That's very young.
Yeah. And and they would show this, the church would show this movie all the time. I didn't see A Distant Thunder until I was 13 when we moved out here, but I had seen A Thief in the Night when I first came out to visit my brother. I think I stayed for like a week or two when I first moved out or when I first came to visit in Denver. So I was here for a while, and I got a lot of that stuff drilled into my head. And I think I talked about
that was where you first heard like Christian music, you had said, and got like the mixtapes and everything.
Yeah. And I think I talked about the thing that they called the door scene, right?
Yes.
So it was basically like they would play secular music but change the lyrics to be Christian,
Yeah, we got into the apologetics conversation a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. But I thought it was cool because that was the first time I'd ever experienced live music. And so like songs like the song Barracuda
Yeah.
by heart. So they would change the lyrics to Lamb of Judah. And,
Oh man.
and the song Hang On Snoopy.
Yeah, Snoopy,
Yeah.
hang on.
Yeah, they changed it to Hang On Sinner, Sinner Hang On.
Oh, not as
it
good
was
as
pretty-
a translation.
Yeah,
No.
nah.
But the terrifying part comes in with the skits that would happen in between. In between the bands, like how there's like when you go see a show, there's like there's like changeovers, right? So they would have a band, and there was probably like 5 different bands in the church, and all of them had like at least one member of the band was in one of the other bands.
Yeah.
So like it was all kind of traded back and forth like that. And so when you go to see a show, there's always like the first band plays, and then there's like a changeover, and there's like a period of time where there's nothing really going on. Well, they would do sketches in between changeovers, and sometimes they were humorous, but the first one I went to, the whole night was Rapture themed.
Oh no.
And in A Distant Thunder at the very end, should I wait?
Yeah. Well, you did mention that there's a thing that you want to talk about from the very end of this.
Yeah. So
let's save it
I'll
till
wait
when
on
we
that.
get to the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the ending of this movie is something. It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a
There's definitely a lower budget on this movie than the first one.
Yeah.
But I will say that Patty got a lot better at acting.
Dude, the actress playing Patty, if she had been in normal horror movies instead of this garbage, she would have been a scream queen, because that girl can yell. Like when she's like yelling for dear life, like I felt it in my soul. Let's start diving into this, right? So it starts off, there's a choir of people singing a song that I know, so they must have still been singing it well into the late 90s, early 2000s with the "They Will Know We Are Christians by Our Love, We Are Love." I'm like, all right, I know this one. Last one, it was "Wish We'd All Been Ready." So every movie, there's at least one song I apparently know. And then we get this like beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre level voiceover with the scrolling text letting us know all of the biblical backing up of like, hey, what you're seeing, this is just a dramatic reenactment of what's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, it's very kind of dragnet, like the story you're about to see is real.
Yeah, exactly.
But the names have been changed to protect the innocent, kind of thing. Yeah.
Protect the innocent.
And here's a verse from Theologians.
Right.
I will say, I'm going to jump towards the very end. The last note I wrote is that I had to say, it's very promising. I watched this on YouTube. Every commercial break that I got on A Distant Thunder on YouTube was a Georgia Democrat trying to flip a seat in Georgia. So Homeboy knew exactly where to funnel his money for his campaign.
Interesting.
I was like, that's
Good
amazing. What a pick. This opening, not as good as the first movie. The first movie, we get this crazy Patty wakes up and you hear this nonstop buzzing, and it's like quick jump cuts as she runs to like figure out what's going on. And this one is just a boring ass conversation between a pastor and a bunch of other people in like a
They're all living in a church.
concentration camp situation. Yeah, it's a church concentration camp situation.
I have to say the timeline on this movie in particular was a little bit more confusing than the first one.
Oh, is it because there's flashbacks within flashbacks within flashbacks?
Yes, Matt, that is exactly why.
It's almost as confusing as Lost.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, you got flashbacks, sideways,
flashes.
You know,
Parallel
timelines.
dimensions. It's
yeah,
all.
it's like, oh my gosh.
I wrote down,
Go ahead.
it was 20 minutes into this movie, and we had already had 3 flashbacks within a flashback,
Dude.
which made me think that there is a hilarious movie where we don't see any of this, and we're just listening to Patty try to tell this story while constantly being like, well, wait, actually, there's this other story you need to know for this next part to make sense.
Dude, like flashing back to Patty telling a story, flashing back to that story is freaking bananas. That is
It's
crazy. It's
and
so
all-
weird.
And also, there's a certain point where every time that Patty discovers someone has been raptured, it's the exact same setup of she walks into a room, throws her hands to her mouth, and then it just dramatically zooms into an object like still happening. Like it's like a phone hanging off the hook
Yeah,
or like
I was
a
gonna say,
mixer.
the
Like I'm
phone-
like, this is insane how many times
I
they've
think
done
My
this.
all-time
The
favorite.
phone was what I think.
ahead.
The phone was what the grandma, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
when she found out
Yeah,
her
yeah.
grandmother had been raptured.
which
And
I also
it's so
love.
funny because it's so funny because like if it was a regular horror movie, you know, it would be like a severed head or something like that. But no, it's
but
just a
this
phone.
is just a phone. Just a
Wow.
phone hanging.
Like how
Well,
terrifying! It's a phone.
A stand mixer filled with Quaker oats. I think they were quick oats too. Was spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and I was like, "What was she making?"
Well, no, you're getting 2 different things confused because first she goes
Oh.
to check on her friend's house.
That's right.
And that's where the mixer is.
That's where the Quaker oats are.
And then
Got
we
it.
get flashback inside of flashback number 1 where it shows her interaction with that person. Then she goes to her grandmother's house, and that's the phone zoom in and the flashback to her grandmother becoming a religious person, which all of this, it's basically like she keeps finding out that all of these people in her life very recently rededicated their life to Christ, and that's why they got raptured, which leads to the most unintentionally hilarious moment possibly in the entire movie, where she's reading a letter and it says like, yesterday I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal savior, and then she just goes, no, God, no. it's like dramatic music sting as she's
And like you texted me, she
man.
committed fully to that. Like, I mean, there wasn't a moment that I didn't believe that she didn't believe what she was feeling. I will say that sometimes it was a little bit much in conjunction with the other actors who felt like they were improvising. Maybe.
Yeah, everyone else who's just lazily reading the cue cards in front of
I
like
definitely.
her 2 hippie friends that she didn't trust because in the first movie she dreamed that they killed her, but then it turns out her instincts were right because they do in fact
take the
sell her out.
They
Like
do in fact
it's-
take the mark of the beast and whatnot. And I do love that we're getting like kind of the same story beats of the first movie, just like reiterated. And I guess there was a time jump because at some point, Jerry, who again is my favorite in this movie as well, he's the dude with the insane handlebar mustache that like goes up into his chops.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That facial hair is fantastic.
It really is.
Wow.
Jerry's top tier.
Well maintained. Even Patty's hair got better this movie. I was gonna say episode, but it wasn't until after Jerry had chased Patty down with the car chase scene that Matt texted me was the most boring car chase scene he's ever seen. And then he's
my
like,
God.
"Oh, remember when she
So-
had a bad dream?"
Yeah.
When they're in that chase, there I don't know if you picked up on this, but there's a speed limit sign that says 15 miles an hour. I'm like, oh, well, they're having a car chase, but at least they're obeying the speed limit.
They're obeying the speed limit, yeah. It is so, even with me watching it at 1.5 speed, I was like, this is the slowest car chase I've ever
Yeah.
seen in film, and I'm
And it-
watching it sped up a little bit. Like,
What's hilarious is she's got like this awesome Mustang, which, by the way,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this when we were texting together.
yeah.
Like that car was fire. That thing was so cool.
Listen, the cars are the best part in this whole damn film.
That's probably where all the budget
But
went.
they're chasing Patty in like I think it's like an MG midget or like a Fiat Spider or something like that. And you're like, you're never gonna catch that Mustang and that little bitty like Matchbox car.
100%.
It's like a Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
I just showed Barb's oldest son Child's Play 2, which is my favorite of those movies. But there's a scene where Chucky has like made this teenage girl drive him to find Andy, and the cops are following him. And he's like, all right, punch it. And she goes, get real. This is a station wagon. Like, it's like that's exactly what this chase scene is like, but the reverse. It's like, you just floor it, Patty. Like, I don't understand what your fear is.
I have to ask,
This
were
is
they
one of
still in
the-
Ohio for this one?
I think they had to have been. I
Okay.
didn't check the production notes for this, but I would imagine, yeah. I don't think that The Thief of the Night did so well that they moved to glorious Los Angeles, California.
No.
Like, even that car chase scene, it like does a thing that I can't fucking stand, which is characters who are apparently innocent but are acting guilty as hell throughout the entirety of the scene. So like they're like arms crossed staring at her, and then when she like freaks out, they like run around and jump into the car, and they're reaching out of the car to try to grab her. And I'm like, why are you doing all that if you just had food for her? Like, it's bonkers. It's this movie, the pacing in this movie. Guys, if you want to know about the 7 seals of the Armageddon,
Oh my God, you get
boy,
all the imagery.
do they go over it in detail about 15 times, including one portion where there is a very helpful hand-painted diagram that they're showing off in the church to explain what each seal represents. I'm like, this is bonkers that they are just hammering this down right now in this movie.
They sure do like the black horse with the balances.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like they keep coming back to that one, and then like I don't see anybody starving ever because it's supposed to be famine, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
there's that one scene where we see Patty and her friends in a, like, I guess an abandoned house, and they're like, we don't have any
Yeah.
food. And you're like, no,
And
you
you're
can have
like-
my portion. What?
And you're like, you look like you're eating pretty all right. Like
Yeah,
you
you
don't
look
look
okay.
hungry. You're like, it's famine. I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten since breakfast.
Right. And I'm like, why did their furniture go away in the apocalypse? Did that get raptured?
Yeah. In this particular house came the first note where I felt some sense of excitement, where I said, well, at least things are on fire now because the house catches on fire.
Right.
Right.
Forcing them to have to leave.
And then the horse gets away.
Oh,
The horse escapes.
Yeah.
There's
But
the
it
other
doesn't,
part.
though. It just kind of runs around in circles. Like it doesn't go anywhere.
I don't think they got a professionally trained horse. I think they just had a guy who had a horse.
Right.
At least
they
2
shot
horses.
their scene.
2 or 3 horses.
At least 2 horses. I will say that one of the best parts in this whole movie, and it's maybe 15 seconds, is when she runs into a different house later on, and there's like an earthquake situation. It's one of the only moments that I'm like, yeah, this would be scary, I guess. Like I could see this being terrifying, that the fucking house is collapsing around you. And like, that's when, man, Patty is acting her ass off. I thought that she was
For
in
real,
true
because-
danger when that scene's happening.
For real, because the set design is terrible. Like
Yeah.
when the ceiling comes down, you're like, those are popsicle sticks.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
not a ceiling.
Yep.
But she sells it. She sells it so
Yeah.
genuinely.
I think there might have been like genuine fear at some point.
And she remembered what to do. She got under
Yeah.
a table.
She got under a table. That's the way to survive.
Yeah.
She remembered that. She didn't remember how to fire a gun a couple minutes later,
God,
though, which is...
that made me laugh so hard when she finally. I was like, "Patty's got a gun." I was so excited for her, and then she like jams it on her own self. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I was really excited for you to shoot somebody.
Yeah, there's no world where this movie was going to allow anyone to fire that gun.
Right.
Matt, did you share my meme that I made?
I did send Andy your meme that you made.
This is very nice. And what's funny is when he sent that to me, that is the exact scene that I was watching at that moment.
Yes. I
was
kept
perfect
telling Matt,
timing.
I was like, when you get to the scene where Patty has a gun, please let me know because I made an incredible meme.
So when you guys were watching Thief in the Night, I had mentioned to Matt that the music. So I got confused because I thought that it was the same music as in Monty Python's The Holy Grail. It is not, but it is very close.
Is very, very close.
Wait, which part?
Dun 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 dun
Oh,
dun
yeah.
dun 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 dun.
Yep.
Yeah. It is
They're
very
traveling
similar.
music. It's super similar.
Remember when James Cameron nearly directed a Spider-Man movie?
What about when we almost got Batman Year One with Joaquin Phoenix?
Or David Goyer's Flash movie that would have starred Ryan Reynolds?
Well, if you want to learn about all the unmade superhero movies, then check out Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Hosted by Ben Wan and Alex Ramsey, every month we cover nostalgic superhero movies with deep dives into unmade scripts, early drafts, deleted scenes, alternate cuts, concept art, novelizations, and tie-in novels.
We also interview the people involved in making the superhero films of our childhood, with our past guests including superhero actors, directors, screenwriters, and concept artists.
So remember, that's Superhero Stuff You Should Know, or Superhero SYSK on social media. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey Mark, do you have any favorite moments from the first season of Nevermind the Music?
Yeah, remember that episode where I secretly converted you to loving all my favorite songs?
No.
Well, then it's working, Nicole.
It's season 2 of the Nevermind the Music podcast.
Because the sequel is always better than the original.
And the second album is always better than the...
One of us knows music.
And the other knows psychology.
Each week we dive deep into one song.
From Oasis to Alanis.
And maybe sometimes some things that aren't from the 90s.
Nevermind the Music season 2.
Listen, wherever you get your...
Sophomore slumps?
So they keep, as she's telling this story, which I cannot believe that these people are so riveted by this story, especially since, by all accounts, it seems like all of them have lived these exact same situations. So it's like nothing new to them. We keep jumping to like the people who have accepted the mark of the beast, and they're like in the ugliest white, white uniforms I've ever seen. And it keeps talking about like what happens when you go behind that door, and they're bringing like 3 or 4 people behind the door, and then maybe 1 or 2 are coming back, and they don't know what's happening. Well, finally, after her long story is done, we get to see what's on the other side of the door. And it's I have to give credit where credit's due, a blood-soaked guillotine. Like there's blood everywhere, which I wasn't anticipating that. But I do love that they're like, before we decide to execute you, why don't you listen to what some of your friends have to say? And then just like the cast of characters from the movie come out and try to convince
her.
Patty, like, just get the mark. But I like the last like 30 seconds of this movie. Like we have one of her friends that she made is about to be put to the guillotine, and Patty's screaming, and it just freeze frames on her face. Effect ruined a little bit because the YouTube "What do you want to watch next?" things popped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
As she's
Was
screaming.
that the thumbnail or something?
It was like one of
Yeah,
those,
like,
like,
where
watch
it shows-
this one next.
Yeah, what do you want to see next?
right.
Like, you know, like when the 2 options show up, they covered up the whole end of the movie with those. And then we're going to end with John 3:16. Like that's going to be like our closing message,
Which is so
for this
interesting
movie.
because they have Patty say a really incredible line where she's like, she said, let me see my notes. She was talking about how like why this doesn't seem fair or something to the effect of like why does God just like do all of this just so he can send us to hell? It was either Patty or Patty's friend. I can't remember who said it. But I was like, that's actually really good reasoning, and that's a good question. And to end on
The response
was that
wasn't the response like, "Oh, Patty, it just seems like you're trying so hard to not believe in,
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah.
Dude,
And you're like,
gaslighting
"No, that's
Patty left and right in this
Oh
goddamn
my God,
movie.
that poor thing, just gaslighted like crazy.
I
So
just
I-
wanted her to wake up one more time at the very end of the movie and just be like, "Oh no, I'm living this day again."
Yeah. Well, I was curious what happens next, so I did consult Wikipedia, and I will give some slight spoilers for the third film before we watch it for this podcast, because I think it's important to note how things go for Patty. In the third film, Image of the Beast, begins with Patty being forced by the Unite soldiers to decide to take the mark or be publicly executed by guillotine. The soldiers strap her down to the guillotine, speechless and in shock, lying face up. A sudden storm and earthquake occurs, and the soldiers and others run nearby for safety, leaving Patty strapped to the guillotine as she cries, "I want the mark," over and over again. But nobody's there to hear her or unstrap her, and while she's alone, the earthquake causes the guillotine blade to slip and kill her. And then the movie just follows a bunch of other characters.
Which is wild to me. I told Matt, I was like, that is impressive to go 3 movies just to kill her. And like, I'm glad that I know that just ahead of time.
Yeah. Ahead. And then we saw that part 4 involves mutants, which I'm really excited to see what these...
I didn't know there was a part 4. I knew about Image of the Beast.
In the 4th film, Prodigal Planet involves life after a nuclear war in which mutants roam the Earth. David continues his plan to destroy the master computer of the Beast by injecting a destructive code in it, which in fact is the hymn Onward Christian Soldiers. The story is presented with action scenes intersped with long conversations. That is the Wikipedia description of that.
Long conversations.
So basically what you expect from every film in this franchise.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, we've reached the end of the movie, so now I want to jump back. And what was the thing you wanted to tell us about the last bit of this movie?
One of the sketches, clearly they had watched these movies and based their little 3-part skits.
Nightmare Fuel.
Interstitial skits
that they're showing to myself, who was like 10 or 11 years old, and then younger kids. There were younger kids there too. At the end, so my brother, he did a lot of the effects for the church. So when they would do plays and stuff like that, he was always a part of the drama team, and he did a lot of the kind of stuff, the haunted houses that they did and stuff.
Yeah.
So he back in the day, he was a Alice Cooper fan. And I don't know if you remember. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Alice Cooper would end his shows being decapitated on a guillotine.
Yeah. And my brother figured it out. So the last sketch was after the last band had played, like it's like I think the drummer was like playing like on the floor tom, like a boom, boom, and they bring this guillotine out, and the character that got left behind gets dragged out by these guys in hoods, these black hoods, and they drag him out and they force him down, and then the guillotine comes down and you see the head roll into the basket, and then the lights went black, and that was how the night ended.
At 10 years old, you're at 10 years old and you're watching this.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
That is insanely brutal.
Have you ever brought this up to your brother?
Well, that brother unfortunately has passed away, and the other brothers that were in the church. It's okay. My other brothers, I don't really talk to very much anymore. We just kind of
split ways.
All sort of went our separate ways. Yeah. Bottom line is, it was terrifying for a kid my age to see, and they went hard on the rapture stuff and all that stuff, and and like a lot of fire and brimstone and hell, and what was your? Well, you're 10 years old. You're a discerning person now. So if you don't, if you mess up, then you could get left behind, or if you get hit by a car, you could go to hell, stuff like that. So it was pretty brutal for me. And I've got a lot of church trauma, because I remained in that church until I was 16, I think.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of that, so you had a guest on that was Assemblies of God recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our church was very similar to that, except for just a little bit more extreme than that. I mean, we weren't like snake handlers or anything like that, but like you couldn't date outside the church. Kids weren't allowed to have sleepovers. Um, Obviously, no TV, no secular music, and just a lot of fire and brimstone. I'm trying to think of some of the preachers that would come through, but the guy that was in the movie that's like given the end times thing, and he has like
Yeah.
the like I saw all that stuff
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Yeah. Um,
Oof.
there was no sparing the children of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, that's a lot to take in just visually on its own. Like, did you talk to your parents afterwards about it? Did you how did you process that?
So, no, I didn't really. So my parents. So I'm the youngest of five by a lot. Like the next one above me is 7 years older than me. So I was a late in life baby, and five brothers total. Five of us total, and so my parents were older, and I don't know if you know anything about like Italian families and stuff like that, but the brothers kind of raised the younger siblings.
Right.
So I mean, there was some intervention there between with my parents, but they were kind of like into it. So I didn't
Wow.
really have anybody to talk to. I had just moved when I'd finally moved here to Denver, like I didn't have any friends apart from those that were in the church. We moved in the summer of '87
Okay.
here. So that whole summer was just me hanging out with church kids. And like coming home from hanging out with a friend, and like if your parents aren't home, you're like immediately you're like thinking that the rapture happened and you got
You got left behind. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and you're 13 years old and you're going, oh crap, like I remember one time sitting on my front porch, and it was going to start raining. This is such a like a 13-year-old kid's brain, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to go outside and watch the rain, and so I go outside to start watching the rain in the front, and I see this thing bouncing down the street, and I'm like, oh man, somebody lost their baseball. And then all of a sudden, just like bang, 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 and it was hailing, huge hail. Denver gets, well, at least we used to get like crazy big hail.
Yeah.
So immediately I was like, it's the rapture.
Oh no.
So immediately you go to the phone and you start calling people that are like, oh, these guys are like real Christians. So I'm going to call these guys, and if they're home, then I'm good. And,
Were they home?
Sometimes it was hard to get a hold of people because this was the 80s,
Right.
it would,
You weren't near
if
the
they
phone,
weren't
you
home,
really
then
good.
you couldn't get a hold of them. Yeah. There's a few things like that. There's a few moments like that where, I was terrified. When you're 13 years old, you're supposed to be experiencing your youth, and I was terrified to do anything. I was scared.
Oh, geez.
That's rough.
I mean,
I don't like that at all.
Sorry to bum everybody
no,
out.
no. I completely understand. It's like one of those things where it's like when you don't have the right context to be freely like playing around and having a fun childhood, sometimes you kind of get locked into a lot of fear-based things. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
Christianity can sometimes do that. How did you feel last Tuesday when we were supposed to get raptured again?
Right. I was not
Not as
worried
scared.
about it at all.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
No. I mean, I've honestly, like, I'm not, that stuff doesn't really worry me or frighten me anymore.
honestly, I would welcome the rapture anymore. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
Go ahead, take them.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm either getting
please,
raptured or they're
good-
getting rid of some really annoying people. Like,
for real, man.
like
Yeah.
I texted. I was talking to Katie about it last night, and I was like, like if the people who are so confident that this shit's gonna happen are the ones that get raptured, then I just know that that's a God I don't need to worship anymore because those people suck.
Yeah, for real. And honestly, like, I think we missed a golden opportunity to record this on what was it, the 23rd or something?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
do
the
you- I
actual
know. I'm
rapture
looking
date.
back on it.
I was enjoying watching the TikTok videos that people were posting where I was like, this is fake. You guys aren't like really doing this stuff. Like, you didn't sell your house. Come on. I don't know. Maybe they did, but I'm like, come on.
It
guys.
happens every time, though. There's always some stories during every rapture where it's like they spend all their money because they know that they're not going to be here the next day or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
you always hear there's no limit to dumb is what I've learned in my life.
So true.
And I think the first one was in like the early, or was it the late 1800s?
The first.
I did a little bit of research. About this, just like curious as to where this whole idea
came from.
came about. And I think it was like in the late 1800s was when they started talking about like this, what is it? Pre-tribulation dispensationalism or something like that. Does that sound right?
That sounds like something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
Okay, good. Thanks. I feel smart. And then like it was in the early 1900s was like the first recorded thing of like somebody saying, oh, it's going to happen on this day. And
Sure.
And then of course it didn't happen. And then, I mean, it's like every like 3 years
It does seem like
you
that.
hear about this.
Yeah. I remember
Wasn't there one in like
2012
or something?
the Mayan calendar
Yeah.
was supposed to end or
I
something.
remember the
that
2012
one.
one.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I remember driving to work that week and so many people being so convinced, and I was like, sure.
That was
Why not?
the first week I wore heels because I was like, I might as well before we get off this planet.
Yeah.
Right.
My favorite, though, this last one, there is an account called Don't Cross a Gay Man, who got a direct message from a woman. And I just want to read this real quick because there is a before and after. This is like before the rapture apparently was supposed to happen on that Tuesday. This woman says, "Hey, Misha, I really love your videos and I know how much you love your dogs. I don't know if you've seen or heard about how the rapture is happening this week," underlined and hyperlinked. "But I live in Waco, only about 1 hour from you. So I was wondering if I could meet you up with you and you could take care of my dog, Abigail, while I meet our Heavenly Father." And Don't Cross a Gay Man responds, "Ma'am, did you just straight up tell me to my face that I'm not worthy of getting raptured, so I should take care of your dog?"
See, my response would have been like, "Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I take 150 bucks a week up front."
I know. I wonder.
How long is the tribulation supposed to last? 7 years. So let's see. That's 7 years, 12 months a year. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that all up front, please.
Exactly. And I'm curious to know if there is anybody who's actually successfully gotten away with one of those kinds of situations to get money out of it. But the woman responds back, "Oh, Misha, don't be so sensitive. I just thought I'd ask because you joke around too much about things that are serious to God. You're funny and have a good heart, but you don't give me the vibe that you submitted to God. That's why I thought you'd be good care to take care of Abigail." And he said, "So you're saying I'm hell's designated dog sitter. I'm sincerely sorry that you've allowed a man and social media algorithm to make you believe this is happening. But on Wednesday, when you're still here, feel free to unfollow me because you're being rude." And she did unfollow him, but then she refollowed him for the follow-up. She says, "You owe me an apology." This is how she comes in hot. "You owe me an apology. I just found out that it didn't happen last week because God didn't know that we don't use Julian time anymore. So the rapture is actually happening on October 6th. So we are getting closer to that one. You can make a post about me so you and all your sinful followers can pass judgment, but maybe I'll pray that your dogs ascend and you get left behind."
My favorite part about that is that the all-knowing God didn't know what calendar us on Earth were using.
Yeah!
That is
Well, and this is what they do every time is they move the
Clerical error.
goalpost. They move the goalpost a little bit. Just to drag on the grift a little longer.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of the Parks and Rec episode where like they have to take over the park for this like they're going to be zapped away by these aliens, like this group of people, and Leslie Knope is just like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, and then he's like, oh, you know what? I think it's actually on this day.
Yeah, she goes, he's trying to reserve the park.
yeah, for the
And
rapture.
she's like, yeah, and she's like, oh no, sorry, there's a
Ice cream social or
whatever it
something.
is. Yeah, an ice cream social that day. Yeah, sorry. We're let's see, it's open next weekend or the following weekend.
Yeah, right.
Would you like to do it then? Oh yeah, I think I was wrong about my calculations.
Yeah.
It is the following weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
To me, I always think of the scene in Ghostbusters 2 when it's the very beginning when Venkman runs that like random, psychics TV series.
Yes.
And the guy's on there saying that that the end of the world will be on New Year's Eve of that day. He's like, I've got it all in my book, and he's like, is that a good call? Because you're not even going to get that thing in paperback in time for New Year's Eve if you're wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people who had a message in religion that really messed up a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things could be Five Iron Frenzy. So
It's true.
Andy,
It's
Five
true.
Iron Frenzy's got a couple shows coming up in November. Where can people go to check out Five Iron if they just loved your appearance on Christian Cringe?
Anywhere where music is streamed, I guess. And yeah, we're playing in Jersey and Philly, November 21st and 22nd, which is Five Iron Frenzy Day.
Oh, fun.
And coincidentally, the rapture is going to happen on
Oh man.
right while we're playing every new day when we hit the last note.
I love that we're getting
everybody's
Christian
gonna go
exclusives
away.
right now.
Yeah. I looked it up. I did all the numerology and math and stuff
Yeah.
in my head, and I was counting the rat turds in my basement.
The
and
rat
I was like, yep, I think this one here looks like the moon, and this one here looks like the Big Dipper, and yeah,
And that
I
one
think,
looks like Satan.
November 22nd. Could it be Satan?
Andy, this is always a pleasure when you're on the show. I am positive you will be back in the new year. Thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode of Christian Cringe.
Thank you for having me.
Remember when James Cameron nearly directed a Spider-Man movie?
What about when we almost got Batman Year One with Joaquin Phoenix?
Or David Goyer's Flash movie that would have starred Ryan Reynolds?
Well, if you want to learn about all the unmade superhero movies, then check out Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Hosted by Ben Wan and Alex Ramsey, every month we cover nostalgic superhero movies with deep dives into unmade scripts, early drafts, deleted scenes, alternate cuts, concept art, novelizations, and tie-in novels.
We also interview the people involved in making the superhero films of our childhood, with our past guests including superhero actors, directors, screenwriters, and concept artists.
So remember, that's Superhero Stuff You Should Know or Superhero SYSK on social media. Check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.